Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 52 units of real estate and help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So today I want to talk about achieving FIRE in a high cost of living state. And this is what I kind of plan to do right now. Obviously things may change as I have kids, as I have a family, as I get older. But as of right now, in 2025, when I'm 35, my goal is to achieve FIRE, and not any fire, but fat FIRE. So my definition of fat FIRE is, can I replace my pharmacist income with passive income through index funds, through real estate passive income, and then I don't mind, working here and there, like creating content, doing coaching. Maybe if I become a realtor, like I don't mind working a little bit, but kind of more at my terms. So for me, I want to fat FIRE in California, and specifically, I grew up in an expensive area in the Bay Area. I relocated to Los Angeles, which is another expensive area. So I want to be able to kind of like juggle between the two different areas and hubs, because California, there's a lot to do in terms of like nature. You have mountains, you have desert, you have ocean, you have water, you have snow, you have all the seasons if you're willing to travel. And what's kind of nice is kind of my hub up in the Bay Area is kind of a rental property that I rent out to my family members, and they always have a spare room there. So like I just can always, when I'm in the Bay Area, just stay in that spare room as a hub, so I can go up to see the redwood forest, go to Tahoe or whatever it looks like. And so for me, that's kind of a weird house hack in a way, where I just can just go there, spend time with family. Obviously, you don't get as much privacy, but that's just a hub that I can do if I want to like travel kind of Northern California. And then obviously in Southern California, my hub is going to be this current house that I'm in. And I will preface it is the only way in my mind that I think it'd be smart to kind of fat FIRE in California is if you have a paid off house, right? So my objective is to have this house I'm in LA to be paid off, so that I basically don't have to pay my $5,500 a month of mortgage. I just pay the property tax, the insurance, the HOA, the utilities, which is still $2,000 a month. And so I want a hub down here that's paid off. I want a hub up in the Bay Area so I can visit friends, family, and visit what Northern California has to offer. It's a lot more nature, a lot of hikes, just a lot of like cool camping up there as well. There's a lot in SoCal as well, but I kind of want my two hubs, and from there I basically want to be able to kind of like travel. So like to internationally, and probably it's going to be majority leaning towards like Southeast Asia, if I'm being honest, like Vietnam, Japan, maybe China. I've never been to China, but I may or may not like it. I don't know, but for sure, Japan, I like going to. Vietnam I've never been to, but that's my home country. And I like Southeast Asia in general, so I can't imagine myself not liking Vietnam, if I'm being honest. I've been to Thailand, Malaysia, Bali, so I can't imagine myself not liking Vietnam, if I'm being honest. And China, if I like it. Like I said, I've never been there, and not many people travel there as much, but just to check that out. And obviously, my wife Christine, she's fluent in Chinese, so it makes it easier to get around. And her parents travel there quite a bit, so we can have some recommendations. And my family as well travels to China quite a bit as well, so just having that recommendations is helpful. So basically, I want a paid off hub in the two most expensive parts in the Bay Area. So how did I make this happen? Well, obviously, one is I own a rental property up in the Bay Area that's rented to family members, so it kind of breaks even or makes I lose a little bit of money, but I don't mind, and it just gives me a hub to stay when I'm up in the Bay Area. So if I'm visiting friends, family, and all that, it makes it easy to do. It's a free place to stay. I don't have to worry about hotel. I just have a hub to stay, to leave my stuff as I drive around and go travel. In LA, this is also my other hub where this is where I'm currently at, and I want a paid off house where I just can like leave the majority of my stuff and be able to travel. And what's nice about either hub is at San Francisco and LAX, there's a lot of like international flights, direct flights that take you to places that's pretty cost effective, so that I could like travel, to Southeast Asia, and then maybe Europe. And Europe we don't like as much, and we feel like we don't need to go back as often because the food isn't as good in terms of variety. But there's a lot of history, nature in Europe as well, so it's beautiful. But we just kind of want two main hubs, and if I were to split my time, I'd probably say like 70% would be like probably in SoCal, and then maybe 30% would be in NorCal. If I were to split my time in California, and the rest of the time I would, be international, hopefully staying at places 3 to 4 months at a time. Obviously, all this may change once I have kids and I'm stuck on their schedule, but I wouldn't be opposed to like pulling my kids out of like elementary school for like a month, at a time, to be able to go travel with them. Obviously things would be more expensive with that, but for me, in order for me to fat fire in two expensive states, how I did it was I bought a house hacked it in 2017, and basically have rented out to family member at a loss, but I have a hub to go back. And every time I go up to the Bay Area, that's where I usually stay. And when I paid off house here, so it lowers my expenses $2,000 a month, right? Like if I wanted to play an easier mode, yes, I could have moved to Vegas, I could have moved to Texas, I could have moved to Arizona, where it's significantly cheaper, or if in California, if you want to be in California, if you're willing to relocate to cheaper areas like Inland Empire, there are pockets where you can buy houses for like under $500,000 if you want to be in California. Or like I said, I just can move to like Vegas, or like it'd probably be Vegas because there's an international airport there. Just to be able to, retire earlier. But this is my kind of rich lifestyle, if you call it. So basically a hub in NorCal, which I got through house hacking. It's rented out, and I'm able to stay there for very not that much cost. I have a place in LA, which is paid off. And, on top of that, I have, basically about, let's call it 10 to 15K a month in passive income between my real estate and my index fund portfolio coming in. And, maybe me working a little bit as well through YouTube, through coaching, through mentorship, getting a little extra money in that way as well. So let's just say I average about 15K a month. So I have 15K a month in, let's just call it net income between real estate, cash flow, between my dividends, and then between whatever money I make working, at my leisure. And I have a paid off house, so it's only $2,000 a month in expenses. I have a hub up in NorCal that I can go to, and from there, there's a lot of like free activities that we can do. Because what kind of kills, I think, traveling is like the hotel. So if I'm able to cut down my hotel cost significantly, there's a way to do it. So that's one thing. If you want to be in an expensive state, that's a sacrifice you have to make, right? Obviously, I could just move to Vegas, sell a house, and then own a house cash in Vegas, and then have leftover money to like travel and do what I want. But it's hard. Like I like living in the Bay Area or in LA because there's just so much to do. There's so much food variety. There's all the families there. But hey, if I get older, situations may change, and maybe I'll move. I don't know, right? I'm not close-minded to it, but there is a way for me to arbitrage to a cheaper area to make my retirement a little bit more lavish. Like I have an aunt where she has a paid off house in the Bay Area, but she's looking to retire in Vegas with all her closest friends, and basically buy houses in a circle together, and then basically be able to kind of see each other like on a compound, right? Like buy 5 single family homes right next to each other, and basically live near each other, and they can hang out and do what they want. So like you said, it's just living life on your terms. That's the key thing, living life on your terms. Like I'm willing to sacrifice working a few more years to live life on my terms versus being forced to move to a cheaper area like Vegas to be able to retire, right? Like, so I'm not willing to make that trade, but my mind may change. So for me, the fastest way to like pay off a house. So this house is like $900,000. So it's obviously it's taking a long time to save $900,000 unless you make a lot of money, unless you have a business that makes a lot of money. But I'm an average W2 worker, upper middle class W2 worker that makes around 200K. And, for that type of person after taxes, I have about $100,000 of disposable incomes. It take me like 10 years to do that. So the fastest way for me to pay off this house was to honestly just buy a piece of real estate, force appreciation on it, or you have natural market appreciation, and then you can sell it at a higher price and then use the equity to pay off this house. And that's exactly what I plan to do. Like the first house that I bought in 2017, 10% down for $800,000. It's worth about $1.4 million today. So that's about $600,000 of natural market appreciation. Call it luck. On top of that, I've had about 8 years of principal pay down on this property. So between that, the principal pay down, the natural market appreciation, and the down payment I put in there, it's roughly about enough to pay off this house. So I need to sell the house, pay capital gains tax, pay depreciation recapture, and then whatever money's left, use it to pay off this house. And now I own this house free and clear, and I still have a hub up in the Bay Area because that's a different house that I have. So this is a sacrifice you're willing to make. So that's why real estate's a long-term game. And I would have not been able to, like, if it was just my income for my job, I'd have to like basically save up for like 9 years just to pay off this house and have no living expenses. But because I bought real estate and essentially put $80,000 down, that $80,000 over the course of 8 years between principal pay down, between natural market appreciation, has almost 10x to $800,000. So that's how my money 10x. And I basically did absolutely nothing, right? I still worked my W-2. I just rented the property out to the same tenants. And that principal pay down, I think the mortgage is about 3,000, and every month it's about maybe 1,500 goes to like my principal pay down. So every year it's almost like $15,000-$20,000. And you times that by 8 years, it starts to add up, right? 20,000 or 25,000 times 8 years. That's four. That's what is that? That's $200,000 right there, on top of the $600,000 of market appreciation. So just that one move that I made in 2017, I just saved 80K down. I did that by increasing my income, living humbly, house hacking, and the $8,000 that I saved up, I bought in this property in 8 years, it 10x'd. And that 8-year window of that sacrifice, that one-time sacrifice to save the $80,000, right? How did I save the $8,000? Once again, I worked a W-2 job, kept my income low, and I lived at home for free. And I took that money, put it into the house, lived in the house hacked that house so that I can live there for lower because I had the tenants cover my mortgage. And after like a year and a half living there, I moved out, rented at the same tenant, and it appreciated from 800 to 1.4, $600,000, which is chalk up to luck. But I've had about $200,000 of principal pay down on top of that. So, now, and I didn't do much. Like you said, like I just went to work like you. I didn't do anything. This is why you want your money to be working for you, right? Like I put my $80,000 to work, and it became $800,000. Now, if I sell it, it can use to pay off this house, so that now I don't have to work, right? So, or not as forced to work, or can work on my terms, right? Or I can take jobs that are maybe higher paying, more risky, or remote or hybrid remote, right? Like right now, I'm definitely afraid to leave my stable job because I need it for this mortgage and for my family. But if this house is paid off, I could do like random gigs. I can do interim positions. I can do contracting work. I just can work on my terms and my leisure. So that's the key thing is the fastest way is just house hack, own that, hold that for 10 to 15 years. And like I said, if you buy it right, you do some value add, you renovate it, you can force appreciation. Or if you're going to roll the dice a little bit and bank on some market appreciation, that's all I did. And you take that, you sell it, and then you can pay off your house that you have, or you can sell that and arbitrage to a cheaper state and own that property free and clear. So there's many ways to do it. And like I said, I want to play in hard mode because I want to live in California. So that's really all it is. And you basically have to like backpedal your rich life. And my rich life of Fat Fire is being in a state I want to live in. And my mind may change, right? Things may change. And maybe I want to pivot. But once it's easy to like go from California out of state versus out of state to California, because most of the places I'm going to go to, it's going to be cheaper than California unless I'm going to like New York. So like everywhere I go, it's going to be cheaper. So if I can make it work here in California, when I decide to change my mind and want to go somewhere else, I can easily make it work in Vegas, in a cheaper area. So kind of the key message is you got to know what your rich life is. Basically pick an investment class that works for you. And the easiest way to get into real estate is house hacking, right? Like just literally put 10% down, live in the master, and then rent out 3 other bedrooms. Or you can get a duplex, triplex, fourplex. You can live in half the side and then rent out the other half. So I would have loved to have done that, right? And you do that 2 or 3 times, and eventually you'll have like a lot of units, and hopefully over time the rents went up. Over time you have principal pay down. Over time you have natural market appreciation, and you look back 10 or 15 years later, like you built up a lot of equity. You can maybe sell the first house that you bought, or the duplex, triplex, fourplex you first bought. Sell that, use that to pay off the house that you're in, and now you still own maybe 2 other house hacks that used to be house hacks that you own that are giving you cash flow. So now you have a paid off house, you have cash flow from these like duplexes or fourplexes that you house hacked, and you continue to work, right? You continue to invest, you continue to make more money, you continue to keep expenses low, continue to invest, and then you compound it, and then there you go. Fast forward 10, 15 years, you have the fat fire life that you wanted. So that's really what it is. And like I said, I'm trying to fat fire because most of the people in the fat fire community, they are fat firing in cheaper areas. Like a lot of people live in like Denver, Colorado, or like, maybe like 30 minutes outside of Denver, where you could buy a house for like $300,000. I think the average home in the U.S. is about $400,000. So obviously I'm in L.A., which is the average home is $1 million. So it's like more than double the cost. And or if you live in a cheaper state where you can get a house for like $300,000 or even $200,000, like Huntsville, Alabama, you could buy a house for under $300,000. You could obviously like retire a lot sooner. So it's really what your goal is. So like it's fine to like start off in California, buy a couple house hacks, sell one, and then move to a different state, own that house free and clear, and you're still getting rental income and appreciation, principal pay down from your rentals in California. So that's really the name of the game, and that's how you can achieve fat fire in a high cost of living state. And for me, I don't care for lean fire. I don't want to, when I retire, live below my lifestyle compared to like when I was a pharmacist. Like this is my baseline lifestyle, and I expect when I'm retired, I still want to be able to travel. Yes, there might be some sacrifice that I might have to give up. Like, okay, if I want to go on like I might be more methodical with my purchasing, but like for me, I want to spend all my money on like travel, like and just travel as much as I can. And when you're retired, you can buy last minute deals. You could buy get last minute flights. You can do like tours last minute, cruises last minute. That's what all retired people do. So like there's ways to save money and to live the lifestyle that you want. But like I said, when I retire, I want to retire my terms, and my terms is fat fire in a high cost of living area. So for now. So anyway, sorry for the long rant. If you want to achieve fat fire using multifamily real estate, click on my link tree down below. From there, you can see my links to my course, my mentorship, my coaching program. You can also send me an email from the link tree if you have any questions or you want a discount code. Otherwise, hope to see you next one. And please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.